Hey guys, I'm gonna answer those questions that you asked me on Twitter, Facebook, and Goodreads. I think that's it. Um, for Sophie's birthday party, and I just wanted to say thank you for participating in the birthday party week thing. Um, it was really fun, and I really like giving away stuff for everybody. So I'm glad that people came and participated and talked to me, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I just want to say thank you because I've been doing lots of cool things and I can't do them unless you guys help me. So thanks. So let's get into the questions. One, what are your favorite books and how, if at all, have they influenced your writing? I have a lot of favorite books. They're like everywhere. Um, but I have a few here, and I can't really answer how they've influenced my writing because I feel like everything I read, every time I read something, it influences my writing in a positive way, even if it's something bad. So I'm just gonna hold up the books that I really like. Two, what are the essential qualities of a good book? I think it's different for everybody that answers that question. For me, I really need to connect with the character, and it has to make sense according to the character, and that's the only thing that matters to me the most. Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that because I feel like it's different for everybody. Things that I look for in a book are different than things that other people look for in books. So, how do you have your tea? Black. Black as night. How, if at all, does being an author change how you evaluate other books? I feel like being a writer or a creative person makes it kind of hard to enjoy other creative things sometimes because you know the tricks and the things that people do. Like I can't watch shows like Walking Dead and things because I know what they're doing half the time. I know like they're building suspense in a certain way, or I know that they're leading to a big twist, but I already know what the twist is because it's just a trick kind of thing. Um, but that's the same for writing. So, and at the same time, I feel like I can enjoy books more being a writer because when I read, I don't read as a reader. I read as a writer, and I look at sentence structure, and I look at how a really good book for me is the characters make sense, and even the sentences make sense according to the character. Like they'll have really short sentences for somebody who's speaking really haltingly, or really long sentences for somebody who doesn't take a breath when they talk. Things like that. That I really appreciate that kind of thing. So it's a it's an either or thing. It's either really good and really bad. What are the best and worst things about self-publishing? The best thing is I am completely in control of everything. The worst thing is I am completely in control of everything. I get to pick the release date, I get to pick the cover art, I get to pick the blurb on the back of the book, I get to pick everything pretty much. I do everything myself. That is the drawback, that I do everything by myself pretty much. I mean, I do get help from other indie authors will help promote me, other bloggers help promote me, and I have editor and I have the cover designer and all of that, but usually it's just me. So if there's a mistake in the book, it's gonna come back to me, not anybody else. I like self-publishing. I think the good far outweighs the bad. What is your favorite internal organ? I don't think I've ever had to think about that before. My favorite internal organ would be lungs. Just, I like the way they look. I like how symmetrical they are and how the inside of the veins inside look like the veins in leaves almost. Yeah, I've never had to think about that before, but I guess I would have to pick lungs. How soon did you name your characters? What do they mean anything or just sound right? What would you rename Sophie and Miles if you had to, and why? Ugh. Um, for Sunshine, the characters' names were pretty much always the same, except for so there used to be for the band, there was for right now, I mean now as it is, there's Boo, Tree, and Sophie are in the band. There used to be a third member in the band named Sophie, and Sophie, as she is now, her name used to be Helena, and I didn't like that name. It was just a placeholder. And I was listening to a lot of My Chemical Romance at that time, so that's what happened. Um, but I figure I always, whenever a band scene, like a scene with Boo, Tree, and Sophie and Helena would come in, the Sophie character didn't really do much and didn't have anything to say and was kind of boring. So I ended up cutting her out, but I really liked her name and I thought it fit better with the main character for Sunshine. So that is the only person I renamed. Jade has always been Jade, Stevie's always been Stevie, Miles has always been Miles. They just kind of popped up that way, so I didn't really change any of their names. Very first draft of Sunshine was a few chapters, and that's the only time that there's the fourth band member and Sophie's name is different. But once I changed her name, that was her name, and that's always been her name. I don't know what their names mean. I'm gonna look it up right now. American meaning is, it means servant. In English, it means merciful. In Latin, it means soldier. In Greek, it means destroyer. In Hebrew, it means who is like God, gift from God. Okay. The meaning of the name Sophie is wisdom. That's the only meaning that's here. So that's good to know, I guess. But when I picked their names, I didn't have the intention of, their names have this bigger meaning. So yeah, their names, once they were changed after those first few pages, have always been Sophie and Miles, and I would never change their names. What inspired you to take the leap from casual story writing to professional author? Yeah. Well, I wrote Sunshine when I was in high school, and I pretty much didn't touch it again until I was in my first year of college, and then I wanted to, when I wrote it in high school, I would give copies of chapters to my friends, and they would, read them and come back and say they wanted more. And I really liked the idea of people reading my work. I found out that I could, query an agent and maybe get a book and more people could read it. That's what I tried doing. I tried doing that for 4 or 5 years probably. And they weren't looking for my type of book. So that was hard, and I took a break from trying to get other people to read it. So I took a break and I wrote some other things, and then I met the lovely H.D. Gordon my second semester at Stockton, and she told me about self-publishing, so I started researching that, and I really liked the idea of people being able to access something that you wrote instantly. Just they download it on their Kindle or computer or phone, whatever, and it's there and they can read it. So I started to research all of that, and the more I researched it, the more I liked about it and the more I wanted to do it. And it wasn't necessarily getting a whole ton of people to read my stuff. It was the fact that I would sit in my room for 8 hours a day and type away on my computer, and people were worried about me and they wanted to know what I was doing. I was like, no, 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 I'm reading a book, it's fine. But they never actually saw what I was doing. There was nothing in front of them, there was just my computer. So the idea of just putting it online and having anybody can read it, I didn't think anybody I didn't know was going to read it. I thought, my family and friends, maybe like 10 people would read it, and that would be fine for me. And that's all I really cared about. And then lots of people started reading it. Really long story to just... I got off topic. I'm tired. I'm sorry, guys. Right, I guess the main reason was I just wanted people to read my work, and I knew that it was up to the level of being able to be read by other people, and like an actual book versus workshop stories or something. And I just wanted people to read it. That's all. That's all any writer wants, and I guess I just wanted it very, very badly. So that's what made me want to be an author. What is it like to see both positive and negative reviews? What effect does it have on you? Can you read them? I'm fine with any kind of review, actually. I mean, there's been a few that were really mean, but mostly people have been responding to my work pretty well. Like, and even if they didn't like it, they're not horribly mean about it. That's the only thing I can't stand. If you don't like a book, fine, that's fine. But don't just be mean. Be constructive if you're going to criticize something. I don't really get upset about bad reviews anymore because, I mean, honestly, when you think about it, there's like 5 million trillion bajillion books out there. And most of the reviews people have been putting on my book are positive, 4, 5, 3 stars. Even if they're 2 and 1 stars, they have something nice to say. So I'm not gonna let negative reviews stop me from what I'm doing and believing in what I'm doing. So they affect me in the way that I take them into consideration the same I would any criticism. And if I think they're right, I try to fix it next time, and if I think they're wrong, I just don't pay attention to it. I guess when you finish a novel, have somebody else read it, and then have another person read it, and then take what they say into consideration and see how you can make your book even better, and then do it again, and then do it again, and so on. Then get somebody to edit it, and then if you want to get published, the best thing I can say to you is to research. You have to decide what's best for your project. If you want to go traditional, that's a whole different process than if you want to go self-publishing. But you just have to decide which way you want to go, and then, just stay calm. You can do it. The hardest thing for me is self-doubt. That's probably the hardest thing, and that's when I talk to a lot of people, that's what stops them most of the time when they have to put things out, especially if it's on the internet, because anybody can get it and it's so accessible and it's instant. So if somebody hates you, you're gonna know about it instantly. If you know that you're putting out the best work you can, then do it. That's it. It's hard. The hardest part for me was not editing, revising, finding readers and finding reviewers and finding covers and all of these things. The hardest part for me was just going onto Amazon and seeing that publish now button and having my mouse hover over that little button for about 10 minutes. That was the hardest part for me because I was so afraid that something I worked so long on was just going to get torn apart. If you can get over that little thing, you'll be fine. What would you say is the most rewarding aspect of giving birth to an entity such as Sophie? Sophie is a character that is near and dear to my heart. she is the one character that I stuck with throughout high school. And high school, like for many teenagers, was very hard for me to do. I had a lot of things going on at home and a lot of things going on at school that were not healthy. It was a healing process for me to work with her and to tell her story. And it's I don't know how to explain it. Sunshine was easy for me to write because when I got home from school and I got home and the bad things were still at home, I would sit in my room with a notebook and just write. And Sophie's story became my story in a lot of ways. And it was easier for me to deal with certain things when I had Sophie around. That was what was rewarding for me. And it still is. And when I read her now, it's hard for me to separate what was going on back then and where I am now. And I'm trying not to get all stupid, but it's only been it's Sunshine has been out not even a year, but I've been working with Sunshine for a very long time, and it's weird looking back. And I had to read some of Sunshine the other day to a room full of strangers and a few professors I knew and my boyfriend and my sister. And I wasn't nervous when I was reading, but my voice was shaking very much and I couldn't breathe, and I didn't know the reason, but I think the reason was because reading her words now in Sunshine is like an affirmation of you did this and you got through all of that. So I just hope for other people it can be kind of the same. And a few people have come to me and on the internet and said that my book helped them through some hard times too, and that's the most rewarding thing. That you can't really top that for me. Why is the sky blue? Aliens. Can you talk in spoilery detail about some aspects of your novels, such as your thought process when writing the most pivotal points of your novel, or your favorite parts, and how you tried to manipulate your readers? How do you decide where to go with the plot? What aspects of the story come to you first, and what gets filled in later? Is there anything you want to change in retrospect? Usually, I guess I'll do the plot. The plot question is the biggest one here. So, the biggest thing for me, the big parts of the plot for me are usually already there. In Sunshine, there's a few big plot points. In Sun Poison, there's the same, a few big plot points. Then there's just a matter of getting there and navigating through there and putting them all in order. So usually I write the big plot points first, and then I go back and fill in every little hole that's left in between them. It's different every time I write something though. Sometimes I can write, like I'm writing a horror novel now that should be out next summer. I'm writing that completely from beginning to end. And I've never written something like that, but it's working that way because I can't jump around. It would just mess me up. I don't know. But somehow with the Sunshine series, putting in the big plot points, the big, evil things happening, or the big emotional moments, things like that, those always come up first. And I'll write those first and then just tie them all together by the end. Hopefully it all works. My thought process when I try to manipulate my readers. The thing is, yeah, I guess I do kind of sort of manipulate readers, but it's not my intention when I'm writing. The thing for me, how I've always written things, is it centers around the character and whatever she is going through. If that is going to elicit a response from a reader, whether it be anger, or sadness, or whatever. Those are the two big ones. But um, if it's one of those, it's usually not something I intentionally at first do to make the reader cry or yell or something. Um, yeah, I don't really think about manipulating emotions when somebody's reading. Do you think about it when I have my longtime beta reader, first reader of anything I write, Sarah. She whenever I give her my manuscript and she reads it right on there, like, this made me cry, I'm so pissed off, or something like that. That's when I start to see it, and that's when I start to like it, and if it's meant to be that way in the book, I'll either play it up, or if it's not meant to be, as if you're not supposed to be that angry about something in the book, I'll play it down. So it's a trial and error thing, I guess. Just like anything else that I do. Is there anything you want to change in retrospect? No. I wrote Sun Poisoned, for example. First, I wrote it. I wrote half of it last winter, half of it during my last semester, which was God, what month is it? It's October, so it was like, I don't know, March and April last semester. I was writing it. So then when I got out of school in May, I was editing and revising and getting ready for blog tours, trying to find an editor, which I finally did, but all of those things, they seem to pile on back to back to back, because I should have given it, I released it in June, and I wish I'd released it in July, because I feel I still did everything and nothing was left out, and I didn't cut any corners or anything, but I feel like it would have been a lot less stressful for me, and I would have enjoyed my summer more if I pushed it back a month. But I wouldn't really change anything about the stories or anything like that. Usually if I'm at the point where I can push that little button on Amazon, I'm pretty good with do I want to change things. Is there such a thing as soil judging contests? Yep. 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 Have you ever thought about a collaboration project with any other type of artist? Yes. I've been talking about it for a little while with my sister Kelly, who is everything. She's my tattoo artist, my editor, and an artist by herself. Very, very good. When I graduate next spring, graduate college, and we're talking about making either a book of short stories / poems with art in it, or art about it, or a novel with illustrations. So we're still, it's still in its little embryonic stage right now. Ideally, I'm going to take a little bit of time off after school and work on a few things that I have planned, and the art book project is one of them. I really want one day to write with another writer, but I don't think it's possible for me because I'm so crazy with this stuff. Like I am very organized when it comes to writing, nothing else. I'm very, I have to make a schedule for every day of the week, and I have to write this amount of words, and I have to edit this amount of pages or whatever it is. And I feel like anybody else, even if they are super organized, it would just kind of, after a while, would grate on me, and I wouldn't be able to do it. But there's always that hope that I can write a story with someone else and it would turn out really good. So you never know. I'm always up for trying new things with creative people because that's one of my favorite things to do. The last question: have you ever thought about writing screenplays for your stories in a more visual medium, like a short film feature length, etc. Not really. I when I took creative writing at OCC, my first college that I went to, I took creative writing, like a intro to creative writing, and we had to write one act plays. And I don't know if that's the same as screenplays. I've never actually written a screenplay. I don't know how you write a screenplay, but I have friends that write screenplays. Um, I don't think I would write a screenplay because I did not like writing the play. Like, I just don't like the formatting. I don't like how almost detached it feels when I'm writing it. But I would like it if somebody took my writing and made it into a screenplay and people wanted to act it out and things. Like, I think that would be really cool. I mean, I never say never when it comes to writing. A year ago I said I would never write a horror story, and I'm writing a horror story now. So, you never know. Thank you guys for asking me questions. And I'm sorry I couldn't do a webcast. I've been super busy with school, and I've been kind of sick, and everybody's been kind of sick. So, and I've been trying to do all of this work. I have 2 semesters left of college, and it is so stressful for me, and I've been going through a few things as well. But, so the 3rd book in the Sunshine series will be out soon, and I think I might make a video of me reading a little tiny snippet of the 3rd book after this, because I'm kind of happy with how it's coming along, and I want to share it because everybody's really upset with how the 2nd one ended, and I'm sorry, I couldn't end it any other way. But yeah, you guys are really, really awesome and sweet, and you can totally talk to me on the internet anytime if you want to ask me questions, and I will gladly answer them to the best of my ability, and I'm really, really excited for everything that's coming up, and I can't wait to share everything with you guys. I'm really happy that people are responding to my books and want more, and that's what keeps me going half the time. So, thank you, and I'll see you guys soon around the internet.